What up, nerds? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Leslie, and today on the Nerdy Narrative, I am continuing a series, a science fiction fantasy series that I've recently restarted. I'm here to talk about the action-packed, fast-paced Turn 2 of the Hybrid Helix series by JCM Berne, Return of the Griffin. Fun fact about the Hybrid Helix series: while this is the second book in the series, this is the cover that made me want to read the series. Let me give y'all a little bit of a better close-up. It was the shark. It was the shark that did it. I was very intrigued by the main character because I looked at him and I thought, that's Uncle Jesse from Full House. That's the whole reason why I wanted to read this series to begin with. Luckily for me, it's a great series. I've had a lot of fun with it. I believe that anyone who loves science fiction, fantasy blends, comics, stories about superheroes, I think this series is going to be right up your alley. This one felt just like I was reading a comic without the pictures, but it's written so well that I was able to picture the scene in my mind, especially the shark. So let me tell you a little bit more about what Return of the Griffin is about. Humanity finds itself on the brink of extinction as massive monsters rise out of the Pacific, destroying cities, killing millions. Earth's heroes have been nearly wiped out, and the survivors hold out hope that they can locate Hyperion, Earth's most powerful hero. Instead, they find out that Hyperion is dead, leaving them to turn instead to the Griffin, a former weapon of mass destruction once wielded by the Ildrak Empire. The Griffin sees this opportunity to help Earth as a hopeful path toward redemption for the things that he has done in the past, the burden that he has been carrying with him all this time, and hopefully he is able to do so without becoming the monster he once was. For those of you who have read the first book in the series, Wistful Ascending, you might have heard that book description and are thinking to yourselves, this one sounds a little more serious, a little more dark, and you would be correct. This one doesn't have the slice of life humor to it that we had in Wistful Ascending. This book focuses on the character of Rohan. This book helps us understand who he used to be and why it is in Wistful Ascending he fought so hard to keep control of his power. Now I would like to talk about some of the things that I loved about this book and a couple of things that didn't work for me. As I mentioned when discussing the book description, Return of the Griffin primarily takes place on Earth, which for me at least was a little sad because it meant less time spent with all of the characters that I met and fell in love with on Wistful Ascending, the first book of the series. Out of all of the new characters on Earth that were introduced in Return of the Griffin, the only two standouts for me were Rohan's mother and the sharks. I love any type of book about sharks or movie, so those were definitely going to be a shoe-in favorite for me, and I was surprised to like the character of Rohan's mother so much. I loved the way that she was described. She just exuded power, but she was completely human. She wasn't a hybrid. She wasn't a superhero, or at least not in the sense as your typical definition of one is. The sharks were just absolutely amazing. This author really knows how to write descriptions. Just as he wrote the strength of Rohan's mother's character, these sharks, despite the initial ridiculous image of when you're imagining a shark with 4 legs, the descriptions in this book really go into detail and just talk about how massive, how difficult it is. I'm telling y'all, every time they have to fight one of these, millions of people die, they're displaced from their homes, superheroes lose their lives. These sharks are no joke, and it was so terrifying to read about. And any time that a new one has been sighted in the ocean making its way toward land, I'm telling y'all, my heartbeat would just immediately start racing. There was no way I was going to be able to put the book down until at least I got to the culmination of what that battle was going to look like. Like whenever there's a hurricane announced, you just constantly are checking for updates, seeing what its path is. Is it going to change? Is it going to turn? Where's it going to hit? That same level of anxious fear and chaos. That is exactly what it was like reading about these sharks. The descriptions of how terrifying these sharks looked, the destruction that they caused, the panic, the fear, it caused global hysteria that the reader feels when reading about it. And it goes to show that while JCM Berne is able to write excellent banter, great wit, a lot of humor, he's able to get dark when the story merits it with equal measure. Now, something that did not work for me in regards to characters of this book. There was a satirical group introduced called the Proud Guys, which I am assuming they were put in there for humor. But I could have done without these characters. It's not that I have any allegiance to the group that is being spoofed upon. It's just the name they were given was a bit ridiculous, and their inclusion to the story felt odd. This group first makes their appearance into the book because Rohan is attempting to recruit any powered individual that can help fight these sharks. They are desperate. So they're turning to the villains, and he goes to the Proud Guys. Now, if he had also included other villains, then their inclusion wouldn't have felt so odd to me. But the fact that he just went to this one group and we have this whole predictable interaction with this group because you're going to figure out who he's spoofing immediately, it ended up just feeling to me like a missed opportunity. If the author had included other villains in this recruitment process, I think it would have felt more cohesive. Instead, it felt like I'm going to single out this group of people to include in the story so I can make fun of them, and it ended up not really being funny to me. So that's just my thoughts. As far as what I enjoyed most about Return of the Griffin is the opportunity to delve deeper into Rohan's past, his family, and the reasons that led to him leaving Earth to go on to become a Lance Primary for the Ildrak Empire. Even though Return of the Griffin focuses a lot on Rohan's past, there's also a lot of really great character development happening in the present that's going to have an effect on future books of the series. Despite the internal conflict and the seriousness of the situation he's facing on Earth, Rohan's wit and humor that I fell in love with in Wistful Ascending still manages to shine through, though it is a little more subdued. Overall, I had a great time reading Return of the Griffin by JCM Berne. This is the second book in the Hybrid Helix series. I will be continuing with the third book, which is called Blood Reunion. That's going to be coming very soon, and the first 4 books of this series are currently available. I'll have all 4 linked in the description below if you would like to check those out, read all of the book descriptions in full. I will also have the author's website and YouTube channel listed so you can read and learn more about him. He has another novel, a fantasy novel called Partial Function that I've read and enjoyed. I will link my review for that one in the description as well. You might need to slide that one on your TBR along with the Hybrid Helix series. The 5th book is going to be coming out very soon, so now's the time to get started on this series. Thank you all so much for watching today, for listening to me talk about a book that I really enjoyed, and I think you might would too. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll catch you in the next one.